Was with the governor's office at that time, and now he's with the federal. He's moved from state to federal apparently. Kind of. So Gil Gonzales is with the California Manufacturing Technology Consulting. It's just called CMTC. Anyway, Gil.
Thank you. Sure. So I'm going to start off with this as, one, you're either a manufacturer, or two, you're serving and or assisting manufacturers. So just to recap, the goal of today is to really have you walk away with substantive information that we hope you take action on. Because I'm going to be tracking you down after this, because I am very passionate about not only economic development, but also manufacturing. So that's why really on the back, we're hoping that you write down some good feedback, as well as during the roundtable, give us some pretty straightforward bits of advice on how we can support you or some of the manufacturers that you're supporting. So I am with CMTC. It's a lot of words, but we are based out of Southern California, expanding into Northern California. I'll share a little bit more about who we are, and also, but I'm going to start off talking about manufacturing, because it's something I'm super passionate about. So, as you can see, manufacturers account for about 11.1% of California output in the state, employing about just under 8% of the total workforce. This is the number that I like looking at. It's grown, manufacturing output has grown 30% from its $220 billion in 2011. And as you can see, that trend is going down. So while you do see the narrative, and you hear the narrative that obviously manufacturers are leaving the state, which in some cases is true, especially coming from the state, I saw that personally. At the end of the day, it's folks like you who are really building the base of our economy and growing employment in the state, as well as GDP. My presentation is only 42 slides, so just hang in there with me. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Here's one thing that I do want you to see. The food and beverage, and obviously we'll stick with the food and beverage, but obviously tobacco products. It's one of the fastest growing areas in the state. So obviously that's a lot of the companies that are here in Hollister and San Benito County, especially when you go up into Sonoma, over to Napa, and obviously south of us going into the Central Valley. So there's about 39,000 manufacturers throughout the state, and 54% of these have less than $1 million in revenue. So these are folks that are very small manufacturers. Most of the folks at CMTC's services are about 5 to 50 employees. And I'll talk a little bit more about CMTC and who we are and what exactly we do. But just to kind of give you a snapshot. So CMTC, we're a federally funded nonprofit. We're funded through the Department of Commerce, through a congressional budget. We provide technical service and assistance to small and medium-sized manufacturers. So I don't care if you're making candied walnuts in Sonoma, which some folks are, or if you're making wine, goat cheese, ball bearings, or nameplates for the defense industry, CMTC is able to assist you with technical services. We have been in Northern California for the past 26 years. We've now recently expanded into Northern California, and our goal is to create a California manufacturers network. So that's why I was hired on from the governor's office, and I'm going to talk about some of the services that we provide here shortly. But as you can see, we have made a pretty major impact. We've contributed about $3.3 billion. This was an independent study that was done, and I'm not going to brag too much about this, but our impact is real. When we actually get measured by Congress on these results, okay? So with that said, we are looking to develop a statewide partnership. So a lot of different states have the California, or a manufacturing network. Our goal is to really create all the way down from the San Diego border, all the way up to the Oregon border, Mexico border, all the way up to the Oregon border, a network that can provide and support small, medium manufacturers across the state. So here's a little bit more about our, and again, we work from food to defense, everything in between, computer parts, etc. Last year we served just over 1,100 manufacturers. So this is the part that I want you to focus on, because either you're touching manufacturers or you are a manufacturer. We provide, and I left a one-pager up there, our goal is to really provide technical services. So we have a cyber team. We have Jens right here does flexible hybrid electronics. We have an automation and robotics team. We can help you with sales and marketing. We can help you with process automation, SQF, ISO, etc. I mean, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, and I really wanted to hit home, is because our team actually goes into your company and actually does this alongside with your operations folks, your HR folks, and your leadership. So this isn't something that we just kind of step back and give you a pamphlet on and say, hey, go figure it out. We're actually in there, in the company, providing technical services with you. My colleague, Bob, right here, is based out of Fresno, and he's done this dozens of times with different companies.
How big is your staff?
So we have 86 folks throughout California. 87 now. So here's our growth areas, increased sales. We have a cyber initiative that we're kicking off. Our next slide talks about some of the other services. We do supply chain, we have an HR services group. So some of the work that Barry was talking about, we do harassment training, all federally and state required HR services. We have ISO, Six Sigma quality, lean energy efficiency, etc. This is a slide that I just wanted to spend a brief second on. So Jens is out of San Jose, out of Nextflex. And part of our charter is to help small and medium-sized manufacturers identify technologies of the future. So in order to do that, we have to have folks like Jens and one of my other colleagues, Reminder, who does smart manufacturing, to help you access some of these advanced technologies that maybe you can't necessarily afford as a capital outlay, or you just don't have the capacity to do so. So I would encourage you to talk to my colleague here after the event. And he's out of Nextflex, and they're doing pretty cool stuff in San Jose. So the goal of today is, again, and obviously this is kind of like drinking from a water hose because this is a lot, but my purpose when they brought me on board is to go into underserved areas in California. So areas that don't have a CMTC or a MANET, and to bring our service deliveries to areas like San Benito, to areas like Santa Cruz, North and Sonoma, Napa, etc. In order for us to do that, and part of our federal budget was actually increased, so we want to make an investment, a hard investment into these communities, but in order for us to do that, we need to hear from you. Obviously, I came from the governor's office, I had a lot of experience coming out to this community, but in no way, shape, or form do I want to speak for a manufacturer and say, here's what I think you need. That's just the irresponsible thing to do. So today's roundtable really is to hear feedback from you about what services you as a manufacturer or a service provider to manufacturers, what are some of the services that you need? And post-roundtable, I'm going to be following up not only with our senior leadership, but also with you to start building out that infrastructure to deliver on some of those services.